Hello and welcome to Yes, You Are Brave. This is a podcast where we're going to set off on a journey together to find and build our brave, where we explore all the ways that you have been brave and all the ways that you can be brave again. Because even though we may have forgotten or we may have fallen out of practice, we're all brave. And I'm on a mission to prove it and help you believe that yes, you are brave. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Yes, You Are Brave. I'm Pawnee, I'm your host, here with my puppy, and we are ready to talk brave. So glad that you are here. Let's jump in, let's talk brave. So, this week I want to talk about mistakes. And I want to talk about mistakes maybe not in a usual way about talking about mistakes, but what I want to talk today about is the mistakes or the paths that we go down that maybe there's nothing really wrong with them, but there's not really anything right with them either. And so we're so committed to that direction that we've gone. We spend a lot of time going down that way or doing those things that we feel like we have to keep going. And I want to talk about being brave enough to call it quits and to correct the mistake or correct the misstep in the things that we do. So I feel like there's a lot of things that we do in our life that honestly not that they don't matter, but they don't matter. And what I mean by that is like there's things that they're not of huge significance. Like it's not going to matter one way or another, what kind of pizza we eat, or it doesn't really matter where we decide to live, if an apartment or a house, things like that don't necessarily matter, what kind of car we drive. And sometimes we make choices and we decide that that's not really what we want in our life. This kind of came about, I was talking to a friend not too long ago, and he had recently bought a new car. Now, he didn't really necessarily want to buy a new car. His car got totaled and he had to buy a new car. So he bought this car and I asked him how he was liking it. And he said, well, I keep trying to tell myself that it's not bad. It's just different. He doesn't really like the new car. It's not really comfortable for him, but there's lots of reasons it's a good car. Gas mileage being one, but he doesn't like the car. And so I've been thinking about that a lot since talking to him, of things that we do that they don't necessarily have crazy, big, eternal consequences, but we've put a lot of effort, we put a lot of time into them, and so we feel like we have to be committed to those things. And I've also discovered that a lot of maybe it's just me, but I feel like I'm either like so afraid of commitment that I never do, or like I overcommit to something. Meaning like once I commit, I am totally all in. This is the hill I'm going to die on. And I realize that is one of my flaws. And I think that sometimes we think we have to keep going on a path just because we've spent a lot of time already on it. And we've already taken off down this road, so of course that's got to be the road, right? And I want to tell you today that it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to decide that this really isn't for you. There's so many options out there and I realize that part of the reason that we sometimes don't change is because we are so overwhelmed with the options. Just recently, I ended up changing car insurance companies for financial reasons. The car insurance company that I'd been with for a long time, literally since I bought my car, the rates just kept going up and up and up, and I didn't feel like it was necessary. Anyway, so I switched car insurance companies, and it was a major pain in the butt. I didn't really want to switch companies. Because I didn't want to have to go through the hassle. And honestly, I think that's one of the main reasons that we don't make changes the way that we need to or the way that we want to really be living in alignment with what we want to be doing, because it's uncomfortable, because it is a pain in the butt. It's hard to switch insurance companies. It's hard to get a new car. It's hard to decide that, you know what, this relationship that I've become comfortable in is actually not right for either of us, and I would be better off alone. But there's all of these reasons. There's always a reason to stay put. There's always a reason to stay in your comfort zone. And the biggest being that it's comfortable, that it's easy, that it does not take a lot of work to stay where you're at. It doesn't take a lot of work to stay where you're at. And I think that that is something that if we're not careful, it can be a huge problem in our lives. And like I said, there's a lot of good reasons to do things or to not do things. Convenience is not necessarily one of them, I don't think. I don't feel like that's a good enough reason most of the time to not make changes. I think this is going to be fairly short today, but I just feel like I want to tell you that just because you have spent a lot of time making a mistake does not mean you're committed to that mistake and you have to keep going down that road. And by mistake, I'm not saying you've done something wrong. I also kind of want to challenge the idea that mistakes are always bad. And I don't think necessarily that when I feel like I'm learning that mistakes aren't necessarily something that I've done wrong, it's just something that isn't as right as it could be in my life. Okay? And I think that if you look at it that way, hey, I made a mistake, or yeah, I did something, maybe it's not necessarily wrong, but maybe it's not the best that it could be. And if I want the absolute best, then I'm going to have to make some changes. And so if we look at mistakes that way, or maybe they're just, you've gone down a road and guess what? You don't really like what's down that road. So turn around and go back. And I know that is oversimplifying it. And a lot of people are going to say that, oh, that's just makes it too simple and it's really not that easy. No, nothing is ever that easy. Let's call a spade a spade. Nothing is ever that easy. That doesn't mean that it is not doable. And it doesn't mean that you need to do it. But please don't stay stuck where you are just because it's inconvenient to get into a better place. Now, I realize that, maybe you don't go buy a new car right away because guess what? It's inconvenient. I understand. When my car finally died, the first car that I had finally died, I was in the middle of my first year teaching and I just did not have time to go to even think about looking for a new car. But my sister happened to have a car that she was not really using at the time. And so I drove her car for like 6 months because it was just not convenient. And I was saving up to buy a new car too. But when I finally took the time to go find a car, I bought my present car and I love it. I love the little thing. It's cute. It's small. It fits me and it has been really great for me. Got to fix the air conditioning again. But hey, such is life. So this week, I want you to look at your life and look at those things that you want to change. You want to maybe go a different direction than you have been going, but it's inconvenient. And I want you to decide, what do you really want? And it's okay to change your mind. That's the thing that I think sometimes we make up our mind finally and we do something and we head down a road and then we feel stupid because we're like, wait a minute, I don't like it. I really don't like it. I want to go do something else. But we feel dumb because we've spent all this time and all this effort, sometimes money, going down one direction, and then we decide that's not really where we want to be. But do you want to feel dumb for a little while because you're changing? Or do you want to feel awful, like you're not where you're supposed to be for a long period of time because you were too afraid to change? That's my question for you. My challenge for you is to be brave enough to make course corrections. Let's call them course corrections, not mistakes, because I think a lot of times it's not necessarily something that is crazy big or huge, but it can affect how you feel. And if it's dragging you down, if it's causing you like, I really don't like this, and it keeps coming up and coming up and coming up, then maybe it needs more attention and you need to actually do what needs to be done, do the inconvenient things and make the change. So that is my challenge for you this week, is to be brave enough to make course corrections. Don't let something being inconvenient stop you from making the changes that are going to make your life better. Because you are worth it, you are amazing, you are wonderful, and yes, you are brave. Love you. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed what you've heard today, please leave a review down below and share this with anyone that you feel like could use a little more brave in their life. And if you'd like to follow more of my journey to be brave, you can follow me on social media and the link down below. Have a fantastic day, and don't forget to be brave.